Sombra, can you tell us a story? Do I gotta tell you a story again? Yes, please. All right, guys. Sombra del Piso back once again with yet another story. This is gonna be interesting because I'm gonna tie in, of course, a lot of my personal philosophies. If I don't do that, then I'm just wasting time, and this is just a waste of a video, and then you can get this content from probably ChatGPT or something like that. But no, I'm gonna tell you guys about what happened today at the gym. It was nothing crazy or anything, but it's just something that I gleaned from it, an overall lesson, you know? Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get right into it. So I ran into a guy. I was doing back today, so I started off with deadlifts, which is interesting. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's because I'm getting old, but it's been much harder to do deadlifts and barbell squats recently. I don't know what the heck is going on. I know I've been doing boxing a lot, and maybe that has something to do with it, but yeah, it's been peak. It's been interesting. But anyway, I was doing back today, and I ran into a friend that I haven't seen in a really long time, and we ended up catching up, talking back and forth, and we ended up spending way more than we were supposed to in for our respective workouts because we were chatting so much. We ended up getting into the conversation of Eastern Europe. I'm actually happy for the guy too because he's supposed to be getting married to this girl I always saw him with as long as I've lived there and gone to that gym. They're about to get married in 2 weeks, so I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't have any negative comments to say about it, but it's just, you know, it's another person that's doing his thing, and I'm proud of him. So we ended up talking about Eastern Europe, and I gave a lot of my economic information, the GDP of this country, why it's that way, and what this country is doing, and all this kind of stuff. And he asked me, why do I know so much about Eastern Europe? And I said, I only research this stuff just to troll the people that I work with at the Georgian restaurant because they think that Sakartvelo is the best country. So we ended up talking more and more. And then he said that, so you just go to you must be going to Eastern Europe all the time with your friends, right? You must be going with your boys. And it made me think as he was speaking to me, because I made me realize in that second, I was like, yo, I really don't have any friends at all. Like, I don't speak to anyone at all. I just go to work and I go out by myself and I plan things to do by myself all the time. I don't ever consider having another person with me, you know? And in that split second, I realized all of this. I thought about all of this. I ended up saying, oh, you know, I just enjoy, you know, traveling by myself. It's fun. Traversing the Balkan areas just on my own, you know, music blasting, window down, and you know, iPhone in the passenger seat. So afterwards we spoke more and more, and then we ended up going our respective ways. And I was getting ready. I was going back to the house and my apartment, and I was getting ready to come back outside to enjoy today. And it made me think a lot, right? No friends. I don't know anyone. I don't speak to anyone. I'm not really having an interest to speak to anyone. Does that mean that I'm like one of those like strange people that is just isolated from the world and will have like those lives where I do this for decades and I'm just on my own and so on and so forth? I'm going to be lonely, and there's going to be all these mental issues that come about with that because we're all social creatures by default, and we need to speak to others, you know, at least have a close friend to offload or just exchange ideas with. You can't keep everything on your own. And what I say to that, honestly, is after I thought a lot more, I was in the shower thinking about it. I was drinking some of the Borjomi and the Bakmaro, thinking about it. And I was like, nah, man, I think I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do right now. You see, I know the type of person that I am. A lot of people spend their lives, and maybe this is gonna be a lesson to you guys. Take what I'm saying as it applies. A lot of people go through this life hanging with other people and avoiding those very, very deep, shadowy aspects of themselves that they're meant to integrate to become whole. The Jungian psychology says this, integrating the shadow self. There's a lot of us that we are aware of, but we hide indefinitely, or at least as long as we live, because we are afraid of not being accepted by the people around us and losing friends, losing communication with loved ones, and being in a different dynamic within your social relationships where you're not being understood or you're not being accepted as you used to when you used to conceal that aspect of yourself. And when you're by yourself, I realize that you don't really worry about that kind of stuff. You know, like I realized, like the whole idea of when I was going to, the first day I was in Bulgaria and I was going to Pristina just to go to the international store to buy a whole bunch of stuff for the apartment. The whole idea of me going to the side of the road in some random country to record a video, I didn't need to like check in with anyone to make sure if it was the right thing to do or if it's not embarrassing to you or humiliating. I just didn't care. I just took it upon myself to make the decision and do it. You know? And then also, I understand a lot about my personality. I understand a lot about who I am, how God has crafted me, really. And I realize I'm very, very intense to be around. It's not just the topics that I bring up, the things that I'm interested in, and how I respond to comments that people say or topics that they bring up in conversation, but it's also my energy. You know, and just how I got my energy to this point. I don't believe in hooking up. I don't believe in random fornication. I don't believe in going to the deli when you're hung out all day and smoked weed at this point of the day and drank alcohol at this point of the day to go into a deli and then eat like some processed food or drink some drink that has all this like artificial sugars and all this kind of stuff in it. I don't believe in these kind of things. And I don't believe also in speaking very cyclically about things that we don't really engage in, number one, directly and have a visceral experience with, and two, just to sound good or just sound intelligent in conversation. I don't believe in these things, but the world does. You know, the people of the world enjoy these kinds of things. They like to have fun. They seek pleasure for pleasurable ends. And even with your friends, you know, it's like when you hang out, I heard a lot of crazy horror stories when you go on vacation, when people go on vacation with their friends where they're not paying their share of the Airbnb, they only brought X amount of money even though they said that they brought this amount of recreational funds, and then you have to cover them, and then it's just this whole difficulty, and it's just a lot of heathenism going around, a lot of like basist sort of living going on, and it's like, I'm very glad that I'm not involved in that kind of stuff. You know, I believe in saving your energy. Yes, I believe in spending money as much as you could afford or something, you know, or having fun sometimes by spending a little bit more than you could afford. I believe in spirituality. I believe in God. You know, people don't believe in these kind of things. Like this is their gods are pleasure ultimately. And that's the majority of people in the world. So I'm glad I don't have friends or I'm not involved in the world, because I would start to question the validity of my personality based on how often these people act the way they do in groups, in numbers. The herd mentality is a real thing. It's like a legion. Bad behaviors are validated when there are multiple people doing it. That's why drinking is so allowed here. People sell so much alcohol in the world. Drugs are a thing here. Degeneracy is a thing here. Smoking cigarettes is a thing, even though objectively they're bad for us, right? They lend to death, ultimately, physical death, palpitations of the heart, all these things. There's nothing beneficial about the aforementioned alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. Yet people do these, and it's still allowed to be sold because the majority of people in the world partake in these things. And they call themselves friends when they take these things and then they converse with each other. They're elated because they're goaded on by this alcoholic influence, and that's not real. All of it is not real. It's not authentic. It's not genuine. The connections that are being made are tepid at best, and they exist only because the constituents that are involved in that herd mentality driving this movement are afraid to be by their individual selves. That's it. They don't want to read the Bible because the Bible has, of course, we know it's of a vibration that's going to teach you about austerity measures upon the self and having faith in a higher power and not having to know everything or control everything and observing the times, doing divination. But people don't read the Bible generally because they're afraid of how they'll be perceived by other people, by their friends mainly. Imagine you were a friend you had a best friend for 15 years, and your friendship was predicated upon playing video games, going out to bars and drinking, speaking to girls that you don't know where they're from, you don't know their bloodline proclivities, you don't know their chronic disorders, nothing about the sort, and you're interested in hooking up with them. Your friends act like wingmen to each other. You go out, you spend money you don't have on clothes that you can't afford but that everyone else wears just to be part of the herd or to feel accepted. And then suddenly, after the 15th year, hey, listen, I'm gonna read the Bible. I've been reading the Bible. I'm up to the book of Daniel. It's so interesting. This guy, it's a guy that lived in the time where Israel and Judah were split, and he was living amongst the heathen, and he was serving the leader of the heathen. He decided not to eat the food of the heathen. He decided to follow the ways of the God of his forefathers, right, that were blessed by God, ordained by God, named the special people of Israel. And he started to get dreams and visions about the future, and then the chapter culminates. The book culminates. It's an also short book that culminates in him witnessing Jesus before his time in Revelation, before he's ascended, and he received a whole plethora of information about ascension. That's interesting. I wonder what else the Bible has to say. Imagine trying to connect with your friend on a level like that. That doesn't, especially based on the history of your guys' involvement with each other. He wouldn't even talk to you, he'll never call you again. You're not going to Cancun. You're not invited to the club anymore. And you're gonna start to see that a lot. And then there's gonna be that balance, right? There's gonna be that balance that you are gonna try to reach. You're gonna decide to yourself whether you should read the Bible and keep it secret while staying with your friends, or being with your friends and discarding that journey altogether. And then that tests the mettle of a man, of a person, whether you are willing to put yourself and your needs to the side for another person to be accepted, to socialize, to have those people around you that understand you, or you're going to stay true to yourself and go as deep as the rabbit hole goes, and then just dive down it. Read the Bible, understand more about spirituality, have a lot of alone time. Your parents are gonna stop listening to you. The church that you grew up in, where the sisters and the fathers accepted you, you're gonna go back to church trying to talk about what you've learned. They don't want to talk to you anymore. They don't want to chat with you. It's so weird because you're reading the same Bible as they are. Where's the disconnect? Why is that disconnect? Why is that disconnect even happening? Why is the chasm growing? And so you understand more and more. I don't know. That's how I thought about this whole situation today. And I realized I picked affirmative. In the beginning of the journey, I regretted what I did. I did not want to be enlightened. I did not want to be celibate. I did not want to stop all these things because I was connected with the world. I had a good time. But then I realized that this calling was bigger than who I thought I was. The celibacy kept coming up. The leaving adult film content kept coming up. Going into the dark corridors of life, it kept showing itself to me. The shadow space where it's just emptiness, isolation, spiritual isolation, chastening from God, lessons of all sorts. People acting very, very differently for reasons that are unknown, that don't follow the physical rules that I used to follow before. I kept going. I did not want to go back and have friends just for the sake of having someone next to me, when they don't care about their physical health, they don't care about their mental health, they don't care about their spiritual health, they just care about having fun. I could say that because everyone mostly does it. They do these things. I am very, very glad after that conversation and after my ruination back in the apartment, I'm very, very happy that I made this decision. And yes, Kazakhstan is a huge country. Yes, Uzbekistan is a completely different place, but I will gladly go to those places on my own. And I couldn't care less about whether someone's in the passenger seat with me or not. And if they are going to be in the passenger seat with me, they got to be on similar attention. They have to be on the same level as I am in terms of spirituality, religion. They believe in God, and they just are able to converse because they've went through that tough journey of trying to figure out the self. So that's my point, man. That's my story for today. You know what I mean? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe if you did. If you don't feel like it, then that's fine too. Don't ever let this place get you down. I know that a lot of us are being split up. Whoever is doing semen retention seriously and actively, yes, I am very, very well aware that you don't have, you're splitting up from your friends. There's a misunderstanding, a miscommunication that's happening and it's growing between you and your loved ones. You are starting to realize that your family, right, your family members never actually knew you, and they never actually wanted to know you. Rather, because of tradition and the rules of tradition of how they were treated by their parents, they look at you as a child. They look at you as incapable of having any autonomous, unique individual thoughts. And you are meant to be conditioned by how the parent is supposed to treat you. And so you are who I tell you to be. In this example where you're the child and I'm the parent, they are not ever thinking about, oh, what is my son into? What is he interested in? What is his spiritual guidelines? And what are his leanings? How does he believe in God? How does he show his piety? How does he take care of himself physically? Is he interested in eating well? How does he communicate with the people of the world? You're gonna realize that your parents never cared about you. Your family never cared about you. In fact, they're stuck in traditions, the old world that Jesus said is fading away, where it's all about status. How I look to other people that are doing the same thing, all degenerate, all drinking, smoking, doing drugs, traveling with each other to look good. They're going to the tourist areas of Italy instead of the very, very obscure areas of Italy with history, right? Lombardy, right? They don't care about these things. They're heathen in their thinking. They're very close-minded in their analyses of the world and of you as a child. You're gonna understand this and you're gonna split from the world, and then you're going to start to question your reason for existence, reason why things are the way they are, and your anger towards it, and then eventually there's going to be a blissful understanding and acceptance the longer you are with it. Stay on the practice of semen retention, guys, and don't ever submit yourself to the things of this world, the people of this world, just because you're feeling lonely. It's just but a moment of a feeling. What you're gaining from that is absolutely glorious. I love you all. Stay radiant. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Woo!